President Biden's age has become a pretty significant issue on the campaign trail. And it's obvious, right? When you look at him, you look at it and you compare it to speeches he was giving just in 2020. His speech is actually a little bit slower than it used to be. There's a lot less energy than there used to be. So it's kind of obvious at this point, his age is catching up with him. Now, do I personally think that his age is a reason why he should not be president anymore ever again? No, because I do think that he is still mentally competent enough to do the job, even though polls show majority of people do not think that. But there's another issue. And this is a reason why Biden's age has become an issue, because if something were to happen to Biden in office, obviously, Vice President Kamala Harris becomes President Kamala Harris. And that leads me to our next question. This is from YouTube user Idelia Latina 3637, who asks, or who says really, my theory about the media worried about President Biden's age is because if he dies in office, Kamala Harris will become president. And that is more scary to a lot of people, specifically Republicans. Misogyny hasn't allowed a woman to become president, and Kamala being a woman of color is even worse. What do you think? Now, obviously, just for clarification, this YouTube user is not saying they don't want her as president because of her race. Like, that's not what this person is saying, so don't think that. I may have just been the way I read that out loud made it sound weird. But you've got a lot of Republicans out there, and she's 100% right about this, asking the question, who do not want a woman to be president because she's a woman. And they damn sure don't want a woman of color being president, because then it's a woman of color. I mean, my God, we saw how much they freaked out throughout the entirety of the Obama administration. Some of them still freaking out about it today. Because he was a black man, they're like, well, obviously he wasn't born in America. He's from Kenya, right? The whole birther thing. It would be no different with Kamala Harris. Because there is still so much racism. And by the way, the racism is not only rooted in the right. I mean, it's found a good home on the right. But the racism is throughout this country. And there's a lot of inherent racism that I think a lot of people on the left also don't even realize that they have. You know, I've talked to many people on the left who are like, I'm not racist at all, I'm not racist at all. But you'll see them be like, oh, that's a bad part of town. Really? Why is it the bad part of town? What's over there? Well, you know, the projects. Oh, okay. Can you elaborate on that? Well, I mean, you know. So they may claim to not be racist. They may not act racist. But they still have those, that's the sketchy part of town. And you all know people like that too. Some of you may be having a little bit of self-realization here, like, oh crap, I've said that. I act that way, like I won't drive through that part of town. So it exists. And I think a lot of that does play into Kamala Harris with the fear of her becoming president. I'm not afraid of Kamala Harris becoming president of the United States. Now, I've made it pretty clear, both here and over at Ring of Fire, I'm not a huge fan of her. Like, I don't think she's done a lot. I don't think she did a good job at all, by the way, as the Attorney General of California. Do I think she would do a horrible job as president of the United States? No, I don't. Do I think she would be transformative and give the country the change that we need? No, I also don't. It would probably just be kind of a continuation of where we're at, which is okay, but not great. So I'm not afraid of her becoming president. And that's one of the reasons, obviously, I'm not afraid to support President Biden's reelection. But you've got too many people in this country, mostly, again, on the right, who just cannot stomach the thought of a black woman becoming president of the United States. Hey, everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.